oyster gonad tissue. So the benefit of bisulfite sequencing is you get high throughput data that you can see the methylation status on every single cytosine in the genome. So this figure is showing the percent methylation shown on the x-axis versus the CV, the coefficient of variation. So each of these dots represents a CGI number or a single gene. And so what I've done is average all of the methylation, or all the percent methylations for each area per gene, and then plotted that by the CV. So every single dot represents a gene in the genome of the oyster. And so a CV that is greater than 1 represents there's a high variation. So I'm thinking that there's a lot of genes that are above 1, which probably means that these genes have differential methylation. So differing levels of methylation within each gene.
Can you explain a little bit about CV is coefficients of variance of what?
So what it is the standard deviation over the mean. In this case, the standard deviation RPKM reads per million kilobase over the mean mean RPKM per gene.
Oh, so it's per exon?
Mm-hmm.
Per exon. So if a gene has, you look at RPKM and across all exons and see how that varies. And so that's a metric that indicates the amount of variation across of expression within a gene
yeah.
across exons. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, these are just exons.
So like you just repeat what you said. So anything below 1, the lower number means that it
has a low variance.
Right. So it could be high expression or low expression. It just means that's irrelevant. It's just the variance is low variance, right?
Low variance below 1, and so what I believe that means is that all the genes below 1 have all the areas within a gene below 1 have a similar methylation ratio. I believe that is what it means.
Could just be that there's only one exon.
Or just one exon, like one area of methylation, so that it's not going to vary that much. But it's interesting because a lot of these genes have a high variation, so I believe a lot of them are differentially methylated, so they'll be highly methylated in one area and not very methylated in another area.
Yeah, but you're not looking at that data. You're not looking at variation methylation data,
That's
right?
True. Yeah. RPKM.
So your methylation data. So how did you come up with the methylation data? That's the average.
So I averaged all of the methylated areas per gene. And so it's plotted here as an average, each dot.
Do you have any other questions?
Does it look like the genes with the highest that are more methylated, so the genes on the right have an overall higher variation in expression across the exons?
I think
than
so.
the
I mean,
that are unmethylated?
You can see this cluster is a lot larger than the cluster with low methylation.
Well, I think what you're asking too is it would be, if you squint, it's a little bit higher.
Yeah, there's a slight upward trend.
Upward trend.
Very slight upward trend.
That's what you're getting
Yeah.
at, right? So
yeah.
But it all, I'm trying to see what else you could glean from this.
Plot a trend line. See.
Yeah.
But you do have to be wary though, because anything with just the number of exons is going to highly skew your CV, right?
Can we normalize it by number of exons? Do we have that information?
Yeah, you know the number of exons. How would you? Would you weight it more, or would you, I mean, what I'd love to see is number of exons in a different color, right? To keep all the data, but see if there's any bias in that. Or the other cool thing, I mean, I'm not saying do this because this is all a lot of work, but the other interesting way to do it, it'd be neat to see every gene as in a mean RPKM, like the expression. Like there's no expression level here.
Yeah.
Like you don't know how if a gene's being expressed at all, let alone high, and see how that varies.
I like the idea of different numbers of exons in different colors though.
How would you do that?
I mean, I could do it, I know how to do it in R.
What do you mean by different numbers of exons? Like,
So if like a gene has 3 exons, its dot would be green. If it has 1, its dot would be red.
okay.
And it goes all the way up to like 22 or 24
might have to-
or
you have
something
to
like
just-
that.
You do like a gradient.
Run through the colors.
No, couldn't you do a gradient? Like a
There-
light blue is one,
There's
and a
like,
dark
there are
blue.
over 100 colors. So that wouldn't be.
Yeah. I don't, yeah, that would be interesting. You say, but, well, okay, but if you go back to this graph,
You also do different size dots.
yeah. The big thing I see here is that if you, every gene, the genes, most of the genes are either very methylated or very not methylated.
Yeah.
On a percent methylation. So that means to get percent methylation, you probably took the number methylated over the total number of CGs. So that's pretty neat. And then it's
And then average that per gene.
all right.
What proportion of the genes do you know have 0 for CV? I mean, does that
I don't
line
know
at the
what
bottom make
proportion,
is
but
that the
it's-
majority of all the data points there by chance?
It could be. There were a lot of,
Well, there's only 28,000 data points.
yeah.
No.
I mean, the zero
There were
could
a
be
lot
one
of
exon.
zeros.
I haven't done the math in my head, but if you only have one exon
Or not expressed.
or not
This is what math on that.
okay. So would you still get a 0 in that equation? If it was not expressed at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like not expressed.
Because you're divided
not
by,
confused.
or you're divided by 0 or something like that.
Yeah. Because she's plotting CV, and CV is, say one more time?
It's
Standard
the,
deviation divided by the mean.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's
But the mean. Right, but if the mean, I mean mathematically, if there's no expression, the mean is 0.
What are you saying, no expression for? Expression for what?
A gene expression, but she's using RPKM data.
Oh, I thought this was, okay.
Yeah. The CV is the coefficient of variance of expression. So it's, yeah. All right, very cool.